Hi, Pink Girly here. I'm trying to catch up on some videos where I need to do part two of a video that I've already recorded. And so right now I'm going to hopefully finish up the second part of my jelly plating with a twist part two. In the first video, I jelly plated pages inside of little journals and talked about staining pages with acrylic paint and then jelly plating the inside of these little journals. And then I covered them. And then I wanted to cover one on camera for you. So these are two that I finished. This one was a book that I stained with watered down acrylic paint. I think I used autumn brown. And then I just punched a little hole in the back and put a little elastic band and one of Tim Holtz's little, I don't know what you would call that. It looks like a little doorknob. They're the cutest thing. They just kind of like screw in so that as you fill up your journal, or I guess it could be a glue book, that will expand and then keep it shut for you. Just put some lace down the side, added a pin with a little dangly, Faith in Motion, did some decorating with some washi tape and a little flower. Same with the back. These were the soft covered books. So I'll show you one in a minute that I got from Michael's that were 60% off. And this one, I just used a little word tag, a little tea bag, a little flower from a piece of lace, scrapbook paper, a hole, put some twine. And these pages were jelly plated. That can be used as a journal. And this you can wind around and tie, or just wind it around and, tuck it in. Very simple. I call them my non-junk journals. They don't have any ephemera or anything on the pages. This is the one we worked on camera. And of course, I really messed up the cover. But we did a lot of these pages. Well, maybe not a lot. We did these pages on camera, and then I went through and finished up. And I used diluted paint on my jelly plate so that the pages would remain fairly light where someone could journal or write on them. But there again, you could use some of the pages as a glue book and just glue fun things in them. So I'm going to decorate the cover of this one and get this ready for the shop. So I just took a piece of scrap paper that I thought would look nice. A lot of people like birds, so I took this one with the little bird on the front. I took a second sheet of that and fussy cut the bird out. I'm going to pop that up. I'm not sure if I can't find my pop-up tab, so I just stole this one for the bird off of another piece of decoration. I'm not sure if I like that or not. This is going to be the back cover. It's just the plain side of the paper. And then I need to decide if I want to use a piece of stained muslin for my spine. I'm going to put this lace here. I'm going to put this here. So I guess I'm not going to pop that up, although I might like to glue that on because I've got the edge of that inked. Or my other choice is a piece of this Tim Holtz material where it has the green numbers. It's got the pinked edges. Of course, this edge won't be pinked, but I could cut that edge to make it match. I think I kind of like the green. This has more. This is Okay, I think I'm going to go with this. So I'm just going to trim that top edge. And I may pull some threads. I don't measure with a ruler a lot of times. I just eyeball it. It's not always a good idea, but that's what I do. So just about where the word off is. So I think that'll wrap around okay. I usually end up cutting it too short, but that'll do. Okay, then I have this little sentiment, love this life. This is also from a Tim Holtz item. And I'm going to ink around that because I just think it looks so much better with some kind of color around the edges. It kind of just sets off whatever's in the center. And I ink that with the Distress Ink Vintage Photo, one of my favorites. I did slightly ink the edges of my paper. And this paper pad, I don't remember the name of it. I do have it up here. You may be interested in that. Let me see if I can quickly. Yeah. This is a DCWV product, and it's called, let's see, the Primrose Stack. So that's where I got the paper for the cover. I think I picked that up at, I'm going to say, maybe Hobby Lobby, but really it could have been Michael's or Joanne Fabric for that matter. I'm going to use some of my see if I can get my golden matte meat. Well, I guess I can use my Mod Podge. It's right here. And try not to knock the camera. My Mod Podge, which I keep in an old dish detergent bottle, so I can just squeeze out what I want. I also pulled out a little tuft of cheesecloth that I'm going to stick under the bird. I have my glue gun plugged in. I might ink this just a little bit more. Give this a little more color. And to protect the pages of the book while I'm gluing on my cover, I have a piece of acetate that I've been using inside the cover, but you could use a piece of a plastic bag from the store, you know, from your grocery store. You could use a piece of wax paper, I guess could work in a pinch. Saran wrap. I just have this old crusty piece of acetate that I've been using. So I'm just going to pop that inside the front cover. And I'm going to get out one of my glue brushes that I have sitting here in water. I'm going to take the excess amount of water off of that. And I need to grab a paper towel, which I always keep handy. And blot that off. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to paint on my Mod Podge. Again, I use Mod Podge when I sandwich it in between two pieces of whatever. I find that if I use it as a sealing top surface, it doesn't always dry real well for me. So I use it more like a white glue, which is what it is basically. And I could put some like in a little, well, why don't I do that? I guess that would be nicer. A lot of times I'll just squeeze it on the surface, but you can also put it on a little palette. I'll pop some in here. And I keep it in this because it's easier to use it and squeeze it out. But then I'm not always opening my big jar, which then forms a skin and gets lumps in it. And it just works a little better. So now that I have my protector behind that page, I can go ahead and paint this on. And with the Mod Podge, I find that it's better if you paint both sides of whatever you're gluing together. Now I could just pop my paper, my scrap paper on there, and it, basically would be fine. But I have found that you get really a better stick if you just do both sides. And try to get up as close to the edge as you can. And this will give you also a little bit of wiggle room, time to line this up. Some of the other glues stick very quickly. I didn't do that very well. Oh, this is just giving me a fit, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to add some more of the Mod Podge. It is a little better for me if I just squirt it right on the book cover. And it feels like that's drying out on the edge. I hear my husband coming home, so it's liable to get noisy. Our dogs are going to see that didn't really line up very well, but I'm going to trim off that edge. So you're just going to press that down. This I didn't get enough underneath here, and it kind of dried out by the time I tried to press it down. And a lot of times you'll have some of the product or the glue that'll squish out and get on your pages. So you want to try to leave that little protector that you have, that little barrier, whether you're using the saran wrap or plastic wrap or store bag. Anything that the glue, you can just peel it right up. It's not going to stick to. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the reverse side. And I'm going to trim that off where I didn't get it to stick down right. I'm recording. I'm recording. Now I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to move my acetate to protect this side. This time I'm just going to squirt a little bit on. I usually get more than I need, but that's okay. Now, if you work much neater in these little books and you don't really want to decorate your cover after you jelly plate or tea stain the inside pages, you don't really need to do this, but I really like to decorate the covers. So, well, you have to open it first. I'm going to put some more glue, Mod Podge there. And the thing that I like about Mod Podge versus white glue is that it doesn't have as much, I don't think, water. And so I have found it doesn't warp my paper like a white glue, like say an Elmer's glue would do. Which if you work with a lot of paper, it's nice not to have it warp. Especially if you're making greeting cards. Now I know the inside pages of this book, they are all warped. And I get that. And that doesn't bother me, but I don't necessarily want my cover warped. So I'm just pressing that down. Check my inside. And it doesn't take too long for the Mod Podge to really adhere. I did get a little messy there. Put my acetate off to the side. I'm going to grab a little wet wipe or baby wipe. It's not as shiny. I guess I got it because it will make a difference in your surface if you get some on your cover. And if it's too much and you don't like it and it's too shiny, you can just paint over it with, you could try the Mod Podge or spray it or put a varnish on it or paint over it with the golden matte medium, and then it will even out your surface and the finish of your surface. So I'm going to let that dry a little bit, but then I'm going to come back in here. You can see where I didn't get it glued on exactly right, but I can trim that. And that's going to be damp for a little while. Just really want to press it down real well. You can see where I have some other trimming to do. But for the sake of the video, we're going to just move along. So I decided I wanted to have this material on my cover. Maybe I need to maybe I should go ahead and trim this bottom of the page, because I want to make sure I cover my spine correctly. And so I'll just go ahead and trim this real quick. You want to make sure you use a good pair of scissors when you're doing this. That'll be good. So what I want to do is I want to glue my fabric along the spine. And I could ink and stain this too if I wanted to. I thought about that. Maybe I should just do that a little bit here. Take a little bit of my Stress ink. It just tones it down a little bit, and because I ink the edges, it kind of will match what I have going on. And then I usually like to, if I cut a surface, like I don't have pinking shears. And when I purchased this, it was in a big bundle, a big round, all different kinds of material. So they were already pinked, and I could trim that off, but I kind of like it. But I would like to maybe pull some threads off the end to make it look a little more ragged, a little more vintagey or old. And if you can't get that going, you always can take a little pin or something sharp. Just don't hurt yourself. And start, poking at those threads, get them to pull out. And you may like it straight. So it's your project, so you do what you think looks best. And then the glue for this, I'm going to use Fabri-Tac. I I have a little bit left in my jar here after my debacle. I was working on a project and using my Fabri-Tac by Beacon, and I was getting low. So I had it sitting in a mason jar where I keep my glue sticks. I use a lot of glue sticks working on my light bulb ornaments. So I had those at the ready, and I had my Fabri-Tac handy. Well, I didn't cap it real tight, and then I forgot to check it or put it away. And I came out the next morning, and a lot of it had leaked out, and it adhered all my glue sticks together in a great big bundle. So that was interesting. Of course, it peeled right off. I could clean off my glue sticks very well, but I wasted a lot of my Fabri-Tac. This is really great glue, especially using your material. So I'm just going to smush this around, another technical term, smushing glue. I'm going to try to use out the last little bits I have in here. And I could also use my finger or a brush to spread that around. But I'm just using the nose of the applicator there. Kind of spread that a little bit. And I always try to cap this because you see it leaks right. It just kind of continues to ooze. So I just always try to at least get that cap back on there. Now I'm going to drape my material. And this sticks pretty quickly too. I mean, it's really nice glue. Now I didn't bring it out as far as I needed to, but I'll add once I get it stuck. I'm going to put a little bit here and down here. And then I'm going to put a little bead of it. I didn't particularly like this gray design on the paper. So I'm going to cover that back up with a piece of lace using the Fabri-Tac again. And there again, with this, you have some time and some wiggle room to get what you need. So this is just a piece of lace out of my stash. And when they bind the lace like this, it tends to have a little bit of it's gathered, and it tends to have a little bit of a curve to it. Kind of has a mind of its own. So I'm just going to need to hold that down for a few seconds till that glue starts to latch onto it. Now, when I was working with the book and working with the cover, something got on this paper. Right here I have a black dot, which I don't really want. So I'm going to cover that up with a word that I picked out. Love this life. I'm going to attach that there and cover up that spot because that will drive me crazy. And then I'm just going to use some regular, well, this isn't regular glue. I think this is called crystal glue. And I'm going to put my flower there. So I'm just going to add some glue on the back. I have a little needle, what I call a little needle nose applicator. One I keep the Mod Podge in, the other one I keep the crystal glue in. Or maybe it's called glitter glue, or let's see, art glitter. But it dries clear. So I'm going to put that there. And then I'm going to use a little bit of that as well on the back of my sentiment. Cover that black dot. And then I use a little stolen pop-up because I can't find my little pop-up pads. Put my little bird there, but I'm also going to put a little bit of cheesecloth that I've stained with some of the Distress ink. And I'll put that on with some hot glue. Just stick that down. And then I find that if you do use the pop-up tabs, a lot of times they don't stick real well. Well, they stick, but they may not stay stuck. And like I've said before, I go to craft shows and sell my things. I have my things in a couple of co-ops, things in my Etsy shop, and I don't want someone to purchase something from me and then have it pop off. So I add extra glue, either hot glue or extra glitter glue. And just put him on top of that original bird image. And you can continue or, embellish your book as much or as little as you like. I need some more glue back here of the Fabri-Tac because I only did the spine area. So I'm going to put a little more of this. I'm trying to get every last little bit out. It's a little more expensive to purchase this. It's certainly worth it. And I do have a little bit of warping in my cover from the Mod Podge, but once that dries, that'll start to tighten up and that'll straighten out for me, I'm sure. And then I just have to trim my lace. And there we have it. So there's the finished product. So we jelly stamped the inside journal pages, so they're not just plain. They've got a nice little warp to them, a lot of character. And then just covered it with some scrapbook paper and some other little things I had laying around, some lace, little sentiment. That's a cute little journal. I think anybody would be thrilled to receive that or to keep it for yourself. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the wrap up of this jelly plating project. If you enjoyed the video or learned something, leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up. That would be great. And I'll see you next time in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.